Nothing says unprofessionalism like poor audio. Fix that by picking up the Rode VideoMic Pro for your smartphone or your DSLR today. Affiliate link below. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel, and I like to cover weird news stories on this channel sometimes. And I came across this one, and I had to talk about it. By now, I'm sure you've already read the headline. Missouri man kidnaps sister to stop wedding, fiance claims. Oh, right. Like, I'm not going to try to make jokes about the South, right? And asking the question, did he kidnap her because he was in love with her? I'm not going to ask that question. I'm leaving that onto you, the audience. I don't think it's not that at all, but it's just one of those things like your mind almost instantly goes there. And that, of course, is a stereotype, and that's not fair to people in the South, many of whom I've spoken with, and they do not want to have sex with their sister. So that's very good. But it says here that a man in Missouri was charged earlier this week with kidnapping his sister days before her wedding, allegedly to prevent her from marrying her fiance. Now, look, we all have family members that might marry someone that you don't approve of. You know, like your friend marries the first girl he ever had sex with, even though she's a raging thunder cunt, and no matter how hard you try, you can't stop it. I've been there. But the point is, we all have friends and family that have done that kind of stuff, right? But you don't kidnap people. You might lose a friend over it, which is unfortunate. But kidnapping someone, you know what? You're doing it from the heart. I understand that, but still, it's a federal crime. And you're going to find yourself in a world of fucking shit as a result of this. Now, this man right here, his name is Conrad Kaufman, and he is accused of taking his sister, Cindy Kaufman, against her will on Monday after he texted her asking her to meet up. And this is coming from her fiance, John Graber. Now, Graber said, or Graber, whatever, said months before the incident, his fiance was worried about the marriage because of religious differences. The couple was part of an Amish community, but they had left. And that, again, it comes into play with these particular communities. When you start seeing people attempt to secede or to leave or to flee or to exit or to exile themselves because they're not happy, there's always going to be a bit of pushback from the community. We hear about this a bit sometimes with like the Westboro Baptist Church, but rarely, not very often, with the Amish. The Amish keep to themselves. The Amish keep, well, they don't have TV or cable internet or cell phones. Well, many of them have cell phones these days, but they're, of course, not going to tell the elders about that because clearly they want to keep that shit a secret. But no, you don't hear much out of the Amish community, which is one of the reasons why this story in and of itself is also very interesting. Now, Graber said that he drove his fiance from Jamesport to meet Conrad Kaufman at 2 p.m. He called both of them an hour later, but got no answer. He says, I had all the truck loaded, was ready to go, but got no reply. I started to get pretty nervous. He finally texted them separately saying he was going to go to the police if they didn't respond soon. Kaufman then sent back a text to Graber saying, sorry, the wedding is off. Now, it doesn't say here which Kaufman it was, whether it's Conrad or Cindy, it doesn't say. I'm going to assume that it's probably his fiance. Oh no, Kaufman, it was Conrad. He goes on to say, I'm taking her far, far away, and you're never going to see her again. And then I fell apart. This is Graber saying this to the news. And I get that too. Like, you drop your fiance off at her brother's, and then all of a sudden you get a message a couple hours later saying it's off, it's done. And this has been a fear leading up to the situation as a whole. This has been a fear leading in to everything. You're not too sure what's going to happen because religious differences, being part of an Amish community and everything else, and that, like, leaving that, people are going to have problems. So then Kaufman allegedly took his sister to Illinois, but 24 hours later, she reportedly returned home. Graber told the press that his faith is helping him to forgive. And I can understand that. You know what I mean? Like, you can tell that Conrad Kaufman, doing what he did, was doing it to protect the sister the best way he knew how. Now, it's not saying that John Graber is a bad guy. It's just based on their upbringing, their belief structure. He's afraid that his sister leaving that community, leaving that world, is going to, damn her soul. It's part of the problem with organized religion. Doesn't matter what you believe. If you act in this way, it's out of fear of something. So I understand why Conrad Kaufman did what he did. And you can tell that if 24 hours later she returned home, then pretty much just means that she got away and then just returned back home because there was no threat from her brother. And she probably understands why her brother did what he did, but of course it doesn't make it right or excusable. And at least you got to give it up to John Graber here for, trying to find ways to forgive and move on. That ultimately is something more people in this world need to learn from. It's shitty that it took, his fiance's brother to kidnap the fiance to kind of put him in that place. But, I guess it happens. Now, he goes on to say here, we don't hold any ill will towards them, but it would be dangerous to turn a blind eye. The tragedy isn't in the incident, but it is in the fact that a group of people that practice to be forgiving people act in such a way. And Conrad Kaufman was charged with first-degree kidnapping, and the couple is still planning on getting married. And that is entirely the point there, his last little bit there, that this shows you the hypocrisy of organized religion. People that are raised and to forgive and raised to be kind and love one another, acting in this way when it serves their faith or serves their community. As I said, this wasn't done so much so to serve God or anything. This was done, I believe, out of fear for her soul. Her brother worried that her leaving the sect would definitely cause her harm in either the real world or the afterlife, whatever belief that they have. It's one of those things that does pop up in these particular situations, and it's unfortunate. It's absolutely unfortunate that it came to Conrad kidnapping his sister. And even though John Graber and Cindy Kaufman may hold no ill will towards her brother, right? It's not going to stop the government, the federal government, from filing a federal charge. First-degree kidnapping is, I don't know what it's going to come with. I don't know what the sentence might be, but it's not going to be like a slap on the wrist, and you be a good boy from now on. This guy right here is going to go to jail for what he did. And I don't really feel bad for that. He still committed the act, but it should serve hopefully as a warning that people who are engaged in these kind of, I don't want to call them cults because that's not necessarily the case, but these kind of communities, these kind of very tight-knit religious communities, if you try to leave, this kind of thing can happen. So the key thing there is just go. And they're Amish. They already had runs, just leave at Rumspringa and never come back. I don't know. I'm glad everyone's safe, but this should be a lesson for a lot of people out there that are in that type of world where these things can happen. So it's always good to kind of be on the lookout, right? Now, you've had situations too, like let's say, I think it was in Pakistan last year, where a brother stoned his sister to death for an honor killing because she was openly provocative on social media and she was not part of that faith, and he felt that she was an embarrassment to the family. So he killed her, and he felt absolutely no regret, no remorse for killing his sister. He thought he was doing it to be honorable. And everyone in the world condemned that. And this is a very similar act, minus the death. But you can still see where the mindset's coming from. And that is something that does need to be addressed. And it's one of the reasons why I think there should be a larger push in this world to start trying to dispel the myths of organized religion. Have your faith, by all means, have your faith. But when it comes to this point, this level, there needs to be some more discussion about the dangers of it. But that's just my opinion. You could think differently, and that's totally cool. I do want to hear what you guys have to say about this. Let me know in the comments below. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel. I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a fantastic day, and peace out.